Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good afternoon, Your Right Honorable Prime Minister. It is my pleasure and honor to welcome our good friend, our own Member of Parliament from Vaughan, and the Associate Minister of Defence, Honorable Julian Fantino. Minister Fantino is a great friend of Ahmadiyya Muslim Community, who is very supportive and is always there for us whenever we need him. As a Member of Parliament since 2010, and as Minister of SIDA, or Minister of Veterans Affairs, or as Associate Minister of Defence, he always found time to be with us in our community and made sure that he attends our programs and events, and whenever we need something from him, he's there. We share the same passion to serve the people in need and victims of violence and disasters. He is very supportive of our programs. I will request Minister Fantino to come and introduce our very special and honorable chief guests who really need no introduction. Please welcome Honorable Minister Julian Fantino.
Assalamu alaikum. To all of the people present here, dear friends, and thank you, Dr. Daoud, for your very kind introduction. Let me also acknowledge our national presidents, Mr. Malik and Mr. Zafar, Chairman of Humanity First Canada, Dr. Daoud, Chairman of Humanity First International, Mr. Saeed, and to my colleagues here present, Mr. Graywall, Mr. Tubis, Mr. Bajat, Members of Parliament Seaback, Butt, Gossel and Gill, and Mr. Thin, and to all here present. It is indeed a great pleasure for me and a personal honor to be back here with all of you at the annual convention of Ahmadiyya Muslim Community Canada. I would like to thank you for the opportunity to be here, and while I know that His Holiness Mirza Masroor Ahmad is not present with us, I would like nonetheless to send my sincere greetings to him and acknowledge his promotion of peace and interreligious harmony worldwide. I have been the proud Conservative Member of Parliament for Vaughan since 2010, home of the beautiful Beit Islam Mosque. One of the great privileges of being a Member of Parliament for this area has been working directly with our strong and vibrant Ahmadiyya community. I've always been truly impressed by the work that is done by the Ahmadiyya community in Vaughan, and indeed across the country and around the world, especially through the humanitarian interventions of Humanity First. Friends, I'm here today to introduce a very special guest, a great friend to the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community, Prime Minister Stephen Harper. Prime Minister, I think that speaks for itself. However, with great instability in the world, Prime Minister Harper has shown that he's a proven leader, a man who has kept Canadians safe and our economy strong, and he's not finished yet. Prime Minister Harper has been a relentless defender of a global champion of religious freedom. In fact, it was in Vaughan, at the mosque that the Prime Minister came to visit, to announce the establishment of the Office of Religious Freedom. Only this Prime Minister has the experience and the resolve to face those who threaten our country and those who threaten our lives, not only here at home, but around the world. He has moral clarity, strength, and resolve. So please join with me in a warm welcome to the Prime Minister of Canada, the Right Honourable Stephen Harper.
Assalamu alaikum. Merci beaucoup. Thank you for that warm welcome, everyone, and thank you to Minister Fantillo, Julian, for that very kind introduction. Friends, I'm delighted to be joined here today by so many members of Parliament and members of our terrific Conservative team, and I also want to extend my warmest wishes and greetings to my friends and your leaders, National Vice President Dr. Aslam Daoud, and of course your National President Lal Khan Malik. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to be once again to have the opportunity to address the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat Canada. I've had the pleasure of meeting with members of Canada's Ahmadiyya community on a number of occasions over the years. One of the most memorable instances was the grand opening of Calgary's beautiful Batun Nur Mosque, which I did with His Holiness, Mirza Masroor Ahmed, in 2008. A few years later, as Minister Fantillo mentioned, Vaughan's Ahmadi community graciously hosted the event that launched our International Office of Religious Freedom. And of course, last December, I was honored to attend a dinner celebrating the charitable and disaster relief work of Humanity First Canada. For more than 10 years, Humanity First Canada has served the greater good by showing compassion to the vulnerable, mercy to the suffering, and generosity to those in need. In doing so, its members not only uphold the principles of true Islam, they exhibit the very best of what it means to be Canadian. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to use our time together to speak about another of the things that makes Canada a truly great country, something that Minister Fantillo already raised, and that is religious freedom. In Canada, we know that religious tolerance is an indispensable building block of a free and democratic society. That's why, as Canadians, we value religious freedom so strongly here at home, and why we work to advance it without fear or favor around the world. But today, almost 3/4 of humanity live in countries where religious freedom is only just a dream, where the right of minorities to worship as they please is violated, and violated with increasing frequency. 2 years ago, as I mentioned, working with Canada's Ahmadiyya community, our Conservative government established the Office of Religious Freedom to advocate religious tolerance and to, wherever possible, stand up for those persecuted for their faith. And just a couple of weeks ago, I was pleased to announce that a re-elected Conservative government will invest in a new 3-year program under the Office of Religious Freedom to support persecuted religious minorities in the Middle East. The office will also work with organizations operating in the region to help protect places of worship and religious artifacts under threat of destruction by ISIS. And this is timely, ladies and gentlemen, because, as you know, ISIS just a few days ago announced the destruction of an ancient temple in Palmyra. We know this the same way we know about their beheadings of innocent men, women, and children, the same way we know about their mass murders of the most vulnerable ethnic and religious minorities, the same way we know about their bombing of mosques. We know this because ISIS brags about it. They videotape these deeds and then share them with the world through the internet. These terrorists are trying to pervert Islam for their own purposes. They are trying to deceive the world and to destroy the world, and they must be stopped. And friends, I know that for Ahmadiyya Muslims, persecution on religious grounds by extremists is horribly real. That's why thousands of Ahmadis have sought and found refuge here in Canada. Yet religious persecution remains real for those living in Pakistan and for those of you who have family and friends in Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, you should know that our Conservative Party strongly condemns this and strongly opposes any kind of voter registration system which categorizes Pakistanis by race and religion. Ladies and gentlemen, we are so blessed to be able to call this country home. Yet even in this peaceful, prosperous country, we sometimes hear echoes of religious intolerance in threats directed against minority groups. And of course, last October, we had the brutal experience of ISIS-inspired violence on our own soil. As we all know, these shocking acts were perpetrated by killers claiming to act in the name of Islam. How important it was that the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat Canada quickly, categorically, and unequivocally condemned the attacks and the terrorists who committed them. And how important it was that President Malik spoke out denouncing violence perpetrated in the name of Islam by saying, and I quote, "Whatever the reason, whatever the grievances, whatever the complaints, you cannot take the life of an innocent person who has no role in what you are complaining for." You've also launched your own campaign to counteract youth radicalization, speaking boldly to the very heart of the problem. And you have prayed for the fallen, for their loved ones, and for justice. Par ces mots, par ces actes, la communauté Ahmadiyya a gagné le respect et l'admiration de tous les Canadiens et Canadiennes. By your words and by your actions, Canada's Ahmadiyya community has earned the respect and the admiration of all Canadians. Now, friends, let me close with this. I know your community faces ongoing persecution around the world, but also know that in this country, you are embraced by your fellow Canadians. And you have embraced our country in return. Everybody knows about your special Remembrance Day campaigns and the support and honor that you give to our veterans. We also couldn't help but notice your support for our national sport. During the 2014 Winter Olympics, not only did your mosques across the GTA host viewing parties, I'm told that some imams even reminded their congregation to remember Team Canada in their prayers. Friends, these things remind us all of the wide and varied contributions you make to Canadian society, to our cultural richness, to our religious tolerance, and to our economic strength. But more than anything else, yours is a community that inspires. For in spite of the terrible persecution you face around the world, your belief in tolerance and harmony endures. Love for all, hatred for none. For you, it is not a slogan. It's what you live by. And in doing so, you bring great credit upon our country. I want to thank you for having me. I wish all of you, each and every one of you, a memorable and productive conference. Merci beaucoup. Shukriya. Thank you.
Prime Minister Harper, Right Honourable Stephen Harper, Prime Minister of Canada, it is my privilege to have you at the opening of the 39th annual Jalsa Salana, Canada. The Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat is a dynamic, fast-growing community within Islam. The community spans over 200 countries with membership exceeding tens of millions. We promote and we propagate the true teachings of Islam, which is the message of peace and tolerance. We are Muslims who believe in the Messiah, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, on whom be peace, and promote love for all, hatred for none. Our community is led by the real Islamic system of spiritual leadership. Our present spiritual leader, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, is tirelessly promoting the true peaceful teachings of Islam and love of humanity. He continually reminds world leaders like yourself that it is paramount that all countries and all people work towards establishing peace in the world. His Holiness says that he considers this to be the most pressing need of the time. Now, let me please express our gratitude to you for three special kindnesses. In 2008, you, Mr. Harper, had the historical significance of being the first Prime Minister of Canada to be a part of inaugurating a mosque in Calgary, Canada. In 2013, your government had another significant first for Canada, which was establishing the Office of Religious Freedoms. Our Jamaat is a community that knows firsthand the persecution faced when religious freedoms are restricted. The Office of Religious Freedoms Office was launched from our national headquarters in Vaughan, Ontario, by the Right Honourable Prime Minister. Last year, our international charity, Humanity First, had the privilege of having the Prime Minister address our annual fundraising dinner and acknowledging the humble efforts of our community in helping those less fortunate around the world. So this afternoon, we say thank you for being the first sitting Prime Minister to acknowledge the message of peace that our community professes loudly each day, each of the 3 days here at our annual conference. On all members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community Canada, I say to you, Jazakumullah ta'ala ahsanal jaza, which means that may God bless you with the best reward. Thank you, the Right Honourable Stephen Harper, the Prime Minister of Canada. Canada, Canada, Canada.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Members are requested to remain seated. We will start with our first session of the program momentarily. मेंबरान से दरख्वास्त है कि तशरीफ रखें. हमारे पहले सेशन का प्रोग्राम चंद मिनटों में शुरू होने वाला है. जज़ाकल्लाह.